Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode or another live stream that we have. And today it's a special one. I'm really glad that I'm going to be inviting one of my friends here in Stockholm. He is working in AWS at the moment. He's a senior generative AI specialist there, but I'm going to let him basically talk about what he's doing, what is motivation. And one of the things that I found really fascinating is that the more knowledgeable people who are seniors are more inclined to share the knowledge with others, even though they have a ton of things to do already, like speaking engagements, the 9 to 5 work, and whatnot. So it would be interesting to learn from Talha what's his motivation, what kind of gaps does he see in the software industry when it comes to sharing knowledge, when it comes to people who are developers, and what kind of things does he already see struggling people, especially developers, when bringing their idea to production. So this is going to be an interesting one, and I want you all to ask questions in the chat as well, and we are going to have this in sort of an engaging manner. With that said, I will bring Talha on stage, and I will let you, Talha, to basically share about yourself as well. So first of all, welcome, and it's really good, and thank you for your time on a Sunday, where I think we more or less like to spend with the family and just relaxing. But you're here, so thank you so much.
Well, thanks, Hassan, for having me here. And hello, everyone, for hosting me and listening to me today. Um, Surprisingly, it's a bright day here in Stockholm, which is very unlikely. And yeah, we took some time out today to basically have a chat with all of you and share our experiences of how we see the world from our lens, and by talking to multiple different customers out there in different businesses and understanding what are the mental models that people follow and what are the struggles that they have. Myself, Talha, I'm part of AWS today. My title officially is Senior Generative AI Specialist, but internally I'm an agentic AI tech lead for EMEA, EMEA being Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So my role basically is to help the customers understand what AI is basically for them, and then also not only just talking about it, but also making them strategize around it, democratize how it can basically help their business. What tangible use cases would they have to do, and what baby steps or what actual steps to take to realize it, to take it to production and gain value from it. There are so many things in between. There is cost reduction, there are challenges related to technology, there are challenges related to scaling it up when there are so many users coming to it. The system that you were running just on your laptop, how does it scale into production with hundreds and millions or even billions of users coming to it? What does it really take for that? So today we'll be talking about those things and basically trying to simplify all of it for you to a certain extent.
That's awesome. And just before we go into dissecting sort of a startup, I want to know from your perspective, because we already discussed, in multiple meetings as well, you do have some plans for sharing knowledge, especially in certain areas. And we discussed, for example, dissecting startups and also taking something from your local host to production. And that is something I'm a big advocate of as well. I'm recently collaborating with a lot of people as well, or some AI agencies as well, for showing that not only the tutorials that you follow on your local host and then they just die, how do you really take them to production with scalability and whatnot? Is this something that you plan to have in the future? Maybe, I don't know, a YouTube channel, some articles?
No, absolutely, yeah. So One thing that I have actively been doing for the past 4 years now, I'm a very active public speaker in multiple different conferences and then meetups and hosts and whatnot, different kind of workshops that I conduct myself. But those were targeted one at in physical locations. So, for example, I'm an active reInvent speaker. I will be going to Vegas this year as well to be speaking over there. I speak at different conferences. But the issue in those things is that they are one, physical, and second, they are limited only to a certain group of audience, only certain set of people over there. So I have been thinking of scaling that to basically bring it to the entire globe to a certain extent. Like, okay, hey, these learnings don't only apply to 100 people or 500 people or just 1,000 people out there. Anybody could be learning from all of it and could literally apply to their business or to their work. So definitely, I have plans to start knowledge sharing in multiple different formats. I do already write blogs, but I do those for AWS, but I'm going to be extending that to other mediums. I'll be extending, for example, from a YouTube perspective as well, so that we could share why certain piece of technology is needed or why is it not needed for you or in certain cases, and how can you make such a decision itself. How can you dissect a business? How can you basically understand in your shoes where do we stand? What can I do at this point and move forward? I'm at a local host. How can I go to let's say to a container? From a container, how can I go to deployment? From deployment, how can I go to production? From production, how can I scale to value? So these kind of things we'll be sharing definitely along the line. And stay tuned. Together with Essen and even myself, we'll be having more of such content.
Absolutely, yes. And we have good plans for everyone who's following the channels. So without further ado, let's get into it. And one of the reasons I'm really excited about is that I love those friends who I can get benefit from without feeling guilty. And I think you are one of those. And we are looking at this use case today where I have developed something, but I have no clue what I want to do with this. I think all of us techies have been through this sort of, you know, this period where we have a $1 billion idea. We develop it, we, put our heart and soul in it. We try to be the full stack developer that we are, back end, database, and front end, and we develop something and then it's deployed. And then as soon as that's done, I'm like, blank. Now, now what do I do? I have a front end working. I don't have users. Maybe I'll get some of my friends to try this out. But how do I really make this profitable? How do I earn money from it? And I think an audience in the chat, you can probably comment if you agree with me that you want to have a side hustle when you're planning these projects. You want to earn money, of course, from these side streams. And especially as I know from Pakistan, my friends usually want this while they're working on a 9 to 5 job. And I think when you have this knowledge of what to do after you have deployed your initial idea, then you can essentially convert that into a profit making machine or a product that you can actually sell. So just a brief about what this product is or what I built it for is when I was working at Salt in Stockholm, which is a programming boot camp. I wanted to improve the process of how I'm delivering my sessions or getting feedback on them, and then also not making people, how would you call it? Because people are usually a bit shy, so I didn't want to force them or have them come out and say this publicly, like your sessions suck, you should improve it, you're going too fast, too slow, etc. And I think this product really helped me gather that feedback out of the people. For example, what this allows is, or the idea was to just have a dashboard on my phone where I could see if anyone really thinks I'm going too fast or too slow. That's where the idea started from. And then I thought, okay, if I am speaking at a conference and I have just this phone besides my laptop, and I see there are like 100 people in the audience, and I have 67 people just pressing the red button, which means I'm not doing a really good job. Then maybe I should slow down and then ask them if I'm going too fast, too slow, and mold the topic or the pace right away. And this really is super helpful when I'm in doing workshops, because then I can really see if I'm doing well. So it's not that you get the feedback afterwards, but during it. That was the initial idea, which basically ended up in creating sort of much more, which I think tends to happen every time you build something. But for example, if I wanted to take one of the recent examples, this would be it. So I can go into this system and I can create, for example, questionnaires, and I can get feedback from these questionnaires from the audience anonymously. For example, let's try to see if I can show you how I would create something. So I could go and create a session. I can give it a title. I can ask some questions. For example, how relevant was the talk, etc., etc. And then this would result in a 5-star question, or you can give rating from 1 to 5 stars. But I also wanted to have links here as well, so people can just go give feedback, but at the bottom can also see all the links related to the workshop as well. That was the initial idea, and that ended up in being something like this. So as an organizer or as the creator, I can essentially go ahead and see the links here. I can also edit those as well. So this was a particular workshop that I gave related to Firebase Studio and Gemini Code Assist quite recently. So I can see all the feedback that people have given me. I can see all the comments right here. I can also see the answers to the questions here as well. For example, how informative was the workshop? You can see I got like 4.7 out of 5 from 2 people and from 5 people, so to say. And then at the bottom, I can also see my links as well. And the platform also generates a QR code that I usually include at the end of my slides. So this is really helpful for speakers who are going to a conference, etc., and can just share this link so people can give feedback. When someone actually looks or tries to give feedback, it looks something like this. So this is for the audience. When the audience go to the survey page, they see a form like this. They can write a comment. They can essentially rate this as well. Nobody has to create an account to give a feedback or to submit a feedback. And this is basically based on the browser itself. And they can get all the links that work as well. So that was the whole idea. By default, since I have already submitted as a user, I could also change this to anonymous, which is the default option. But this is pretty much it. So I can see how people feel about my workshops, and I can also gather feedback from them. And at the end, I can also extract this out and show to others. For example, one of the other things that also was related to this particular thing was you can consider each project as a conference, I would say, if we talk about organizers as well. And you could see a dashboard where all of the talks of a conference could be shown. So you can imagine going in a conference hall, see a big screen and see all the talks, their timings, etc., and their QR codes as well, where you could just scan it and give the feedback as well. So I think this is all in all what I had in mind. I did not implement any sort of payment features so far. The max I did was essentially that I'm limiting everyone to create only 2 projects at the moment. So my thought process was, okay, if I want to earn money from it, I would most likely say, okay, if you want to create more projects, these are the plans then that I would go with, and maybe have a limit on the number of sessions that could be created within a project. So Talha, that's about it. I,
Yeah.
I I know you might have a lot of questions already.
Well, before any questions on it,
Hmm.
so I want to highlight a few things which many people might miss out on audience, right? You started from a premise that you started showing a website, okay? You ended up on a page. You opened it up in a browser. On a browser, on top of it, there is audiencemeter.pro hyphen. That's a DNS. That's a domain name. Then you also showed a page with very beautiful colors and very beautiful design in itself. Many people in the audience may not have this experience at all, right? They don't know how to build it, how to even reach this point that you even have this website on your own laptop, right? Many people might have an experience with, let's say, React or Angular or any of these different kind of frameworks that can help you build websites, but others might not. As of 2025 today, and we are at the end of it, you have the different, you have options. So for example, any one of you just could open up your laptop, download tools like Claude Code, like Cursor, like Keto, like Copilot, Replit, Base 44, and many others that can help you build such kind of applications like this in a matter of minutes or up to maybe 1 hour or so. You can have something like this. What would you need? You would need some sort of specification. You would need to put it in terms of Word. I need a website that can do something like this, that can take feedback and all that. Voila, you have reached a code. You can spin it up. You can run it on your browser. Amazing. That covers up roughly ish 60% of the audience, not audience, but 60% of the people with technical backgrounds, that they can reach this point that they can run it locally, right? They can have it on their laptop. Then comes the concern, what do I do from now? Where do I take it now? Like, okay, it is on my laptop. Hey, call a friend, find some other website that can take my code and run it somehow. What to do, right? Do I need to package it some, like, what are my options from this point onwards, right? Okay, we will cover the business aspect a little bit later, but let me talk about the technical aspect. The easiest, lowest hanging fruit is to host some sort of a static content, right?
Mm.
For example, you could put up your website in file hosting systems like, for example, Amazon S3 or even Google Buckets or similar sort of thing, which can very cheaply take your code, give you a URL that you can share with your people. Then you can buy a domain name. That domain name could be from GoDaddy or from even Amazon or Google or many. There are many websites. You could just search. Need to buy a domain name. You can get it. You can attach it to the website URL or the IP address that they gave you, and that's it. You have it up and running. For those of you who would be then creating some fancy ones, you would have to containerize it. What does containerization mean itself? That you would have to package in your entire code inside a virtual environment. That virtual environment is what we call typically a container. There are tools related to it. So for example, Docker is one such tool that can help you containerize it. You create a Docker container and then your application is running in an environment still locally, but that container can be taken up and run elsewhere as well. So there comes the cloud option, and there then comes other options over there. So for example, within AWS or within Google or Azure or whatever, you could just take up that container and run it in some sort of, let's say, cloud functions in Google or AWS Lambda in AWS, and then voila, you have that up and running over there. Or even, for example, ECS, Amazon Elastic Container Service, that can take up that container and run it for you and expose an endpoint. So that solves the problem of you running it somewhere and then having the URL, attaching a domain, and voila, you reach the point that Essence started with, audiencemeter.pro,
Mm.
right? So now you can take up that website and voila, as Essence started with the question, I have it, I deployed it. Technically, it is amazing. It has all the features that I thought it should be having. Now what? How do I get my first customer? Okay, now comes the business part of it. Now comes the
Now I'm excited.
now comes the question of, now you have to take some steps back. Not actually some steps, many steps back. You have to
Mm.
basically question yourself, why did you build it?
Mm.
Or even before that, what is exactly the problem that you're trying to solve? And who is it that you are trying to solve it for? It is a very valid answer that I'm trying to solve this problem for myself. I have this problem and I'm trying to solve it for myself. That is the valid, very absolute valid answer to it. Or it could be that, okay, I'm solving it for a friend of mine. Like me as a Talha, I'm solving it for Essen. So he has a problem, and I think I should be helping him to basically lift up his life in terms of problems. Or it could be the case that you have colleagues, you have a circle, you already have a network, or you see a problem out there in society, and then you are trying to solve it over there. Once you understand who is it that you're trying to solve it for, then you need to understand what is it that they need. Is it the case that they need a web app that they would be opening up, going to a particular URL, taking certain steps over there, and then selecting a project, and then they open up the feedback page over there, and then they type in star ratings or whatever else? Is that what they need in order to provide, in order to basically help in solving that problem? Or they need something else. They need a mobile app. They need to just scan a QR code, reach the page that they are supposed to be reaching, and then start their journey in the talk. Is it that it is going to be after the talk, after the session you have done, or during the session or pre-session? Do they need to submit their questions to it so that they can be answered live in the session? Does it need to be during the talk itself that they can provide the sentiment of what needs to happen? So yes, there could be scenarios where the talk started very nicely, shared some resources, and then there could be a certain checkpoint that the person really needs to reach, and they have another session to attend to, and they could just reach that point, get the resources, and leave, or share the sentiments that, yeah, this part is not really great, move on quickly, get to the technical aspect of it, so that you can live in an adaptive manner change up your session that you're talking. Or it could be at the end of the session that they just give star ratings to it. You need to understand what is the need that you're trying to solve over here. I will get to the aspect of how do you get all of this information. Like, yeah, the
Mm.
questions are really nice to have, but how do you get those answers? Or then you need to at first know who are you solving it for, what are you solving, what is itself the need, and then comes the question of how can you bring that need to them? How much part of that need are you trying to solve? Are you going to be boiling the entire ocean? That yes, they need a service that they can transcript everything that has been talked about so far. It can summarize everything for them in the session. They can associate. It can already read their emotions. They can already just see if they were engaged in their mobile phones, and then you can just sense whether they were active in your session or not. All of these things, do you want them as a feature, or you just simply want thumbs up, thumbs down kind of a session? So you need to figure out, and then there's no shortcut to figuring this out, that whether you need to be just on the thumbs up, thumbs down aspect, or you need to be all the way at the end where you basically monitor their mobile activity or laptop activity or whatnot to understand whether they were active in your session or not. So after understanding these things, that puts you in a place of what do you need to change in your design. Technically
Mm.
speaking, you will find, but that defines those business goals, define whether you need to re-establish how you were putting it up there. Then comes also, there is an aspect which many, for example, computer science students in their bachelor's study but never really understand, is human computer interaction. How many clicks does it really take to reach the point that you want them to be in?
Mm.
Right. There was this, and I love that example. 2 years ago, I wanted to get an insurance. There is a concept of home insurance here in Sweden, and I wanted to get a home insurance, and I was just searching between different kind of options available. And if I would go to a website, so there is a website by the name Landsförsäkringar and Ecom Insurance and whatnot. If you go to their website, you have to click, I guess, more than 15 buttons in order to reach the point that you can actually get an insurance. That already frustrates you so much that maybe you decide, even if it is the cheapest one, even if it is the best one, you are still like, okay, I need to do so much just to become their customer, right?
Mm.
Do you want to be such a business that your people, the customers that you are potentially targeting, they would be so frustrated by even just looking at your product? Or there was another insurance company called Hedwig. You just open up their website, type in the size of your apartment or your house or whatever, and then it just guides you in 3 steps, and voila, you have an insurance.
Mm.
Or do you want your customers to have an easy life? Or like, so do you want to be the Apple that just removes the headphone jack and then introduces a new problem to the customers out there? Or do you really want to be the ones who solves it for them, right? You
Mm.
need to make these decisions and then drive your product towards that particular decision. Now comes the point that yes, now I know that this was the need. These are the people I'm solving it for. This is exactly what they need. They need a mobile app or a web app or whatever, and how I'm trying to make it easy for them. So far, you have a hypothesis. Okay.
Mm.
So now you need to go back to the same person. You need to go back to SN as a friend. You need to go back to the people who you were trying to solve it for. You need to create a small cohort of them. right? They have to be close to you. They have to be some sort of, whether you are operating in a startup environment and you have angel investors, you have to go to them. You are solving it for students, you need to go to universities. Sometimes it requires physical presence over there, and you
Mm-hmm.
need to hand hold and then give it in their hands right away, that okay, you have to use it, and maybe incentivize them to a certain extent. Go on, use it. The moment you have your first person in the system, that could be just even a test user who you did not create hypothetically, a person that is an actual human being, an actual person who has opinions and stuff, and they come to your system. They don't have to pay you, they don't have to be an active user of it, just need to understand the system, right? So from that moment, your challenge starts. You need to understand, you need to start collecting the data, you need to understand what are the things which are wrong in my system, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, a person was in your website and they were like, okay, what do I need to do? What is this about? If they're spending too much time just reading and scrolling your page, you're like, okay, they may not know what is going on over here. What can they do? Are the actionable buttons or the actionable things right in front of them? Can they click that in the first 5 seconds of visiting your website or your page or whatever? Can they do
Mm-hmm.
that? Fine. Yes, you know that at least my initial page is fixed. If it is not, then you need to take that data into account and fix that page and maybe introduce a new button or a new design that can actually lead them to certain actions. Actions would translate into conversion of customers. You take them to the point that, okay, audience meter, create a project or rate feedback or whatever the problem that you were trying to solve for them. They reach that point. Now they are at that point. You need to work on the second thing, which is stickiness, right? How long can they be part of your platform or the solution that you're providing to them? The number one app or the business in the entire world right now, as of 2025, to be great at stickiness is TikTok. So once you open TikTok, or Instagram, or not Instagram that much, but TikTok at least for the entire globe right now, you open it up, instantly you get dopamine hit, and then the increased stickiness of their application to you, and voila, you are spending 2 hours, 3 hours, or whatever, doom scrolling on their application. That's the aspect that I'm not saying that they should be spending 3 hours on your platform or your product, but
Mm-hmm.
you need to work towards stickiness such that you can have that customer becoming a brand ambassador for you,
Okay.
right? If that person feels like, okay, yes, I can be here, my actual problem, which was related to feedback or providing sentiment or getting some answers, can be solved via this one, then they can automatically become the brand ambassador for you and then keep on sharing it on your behalf.
Mm-hmm.
So that's number two thing. Number three thing, what will happen when that person feels like, okay, their problem is solved? They create a network effect. So you have added one person that gives you feedback and improves your platform. That does increase their satisfaction of that platform. And then they talk about it to another person. That person gets added to your platform, you get more data, and then you create a basically a chain of network effects that we call. And then you can just Google this concept of what are network effects. And voila, you are at a point that you keep on organically getting some customers. But this strategy does not give you more than, let's say, handful amount of customers, or maybe less than 100 customers. How do you make money? Right? Yes, with 100 customers, even if you introduce that, okay, I will allow more projects to be created if you pay, and they start paying you, let's say, $5 a month or something like that. But still, that's 100 users, right? What, you will be getting $500, right?
Mm-hmm.
More than $500, you'll be spending your own time in building it, hosting it, running it, scaling it, gathering the data, and all of those things. So more amount of money will be going out of your pocket than what is the revenue that is actually coming in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So over here, you need to make another business decision. What is it that I need to do in order to get more customers such that I can reach a point where I can start making some money out of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So some decisions have to be changed over there. Either you go towards the marketing approach that, okay, I need to maybe do SEO because I have a validation from 100 customers that yes, the problem is solved for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I now need to go on and do some sort of search engine optimization kind of strategy, or I need to pay Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, or whatever different kind of ad strategies that are there. Or I need to now partner up with different kind of audiences. So for example, people are going to be using this in the conference, and conference is hosted by someone. So let's say GDEs from Google, um, or Infinity X to host World AI Summit or London Tech Summit. So who are the organizers of it? And then you have to
Mm-hmm.
actively go to them and be like, hey, you are already buying a solution from XYZ. Here is my solution that's compatible to theirs. You introduce that as your first party in your application, and I can work on integrations and whatnot, and people can start using it. Okay. So you need to figure out that partnership mechanism of what kind of approach you need to take in order to reach more customers. Let's say one of these strategies, depending on your budget, depending on where you are located and how much of reach you can have, whether you are in a university and you can reach to the local bodies in the university, you are already an employee in an organization and then you can reach to maybe your marketers over there. You are a freelancer kind of a person, so you could reach online to different audiences and on LinkedIn and whatnot. So depending on who you are and what can you do within your vicinity, you can choose between different options over here. This can lead you the next 1,000-ish customers, 1,000, anywhere between 1,000 to 10,000 customers that you can gain towards your platform.
Mm-hmm.
Now the real pain starts because now it has to connect back to technology as well. If you
Mm-hmm.
remember earlier, I was talking like, okay, you could just take it up as a container and then run it somewhere. That somewhere could be a Lambda function or to a container service or any third party solution that is there. That's not the topic today we are covering, but anywhere. And then let's say, voila, with all of this marketing and all of this partnership, you gained 10,000 customers. And all of those 10,000 are trying to use your service right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Broke. 503, 50x kind of any kind of error starts popping up. Service failed, container dies, and you did not really take into account how to spin back up, how to scale, how to reach the velocity that was really needed, that which you were investing it from a business standpoint. Those 10,000 customers tried reaching your service, it failed. What do? Right? What do
Mm-hmm.
you read? It's no longer about React. It's no longer about business, building an application or learning technology from that standpoint. It's about basically making a decision. What should my business or my application be behaving like when I reach 100,000th customer or millionth customer or 10,000th customer, right? What would be the impact out there? And this is a proactive decision that you would have to be making together when you were partnering up with someone, anticipating both the sunny day scenarios, or what we call the good days, or the worst case scenarios, like, okay, all of it fails and my investment dies. So if it succeeds and if you reach the point that you have that 10,000 customer, so scaling is a question. You need to attach either some sort of an auto scaling policy towards it. You need to consider whether that is the right platform where I'm running. You need to make a decision of what to do. You need to either learn some sort of cloud techniques over there, understand how cloud works. You need to understand how a service works. Who are you partnering up with? How much are you paying and stuff. So let's say you
Or you could hire someone.
or
Who
you could
knows?
hire someone, yes. But I'm
Yeah.
strictly talking about people who, since we
Mm-hmm.
established a premise that we have people who want to have at least some sort of a side hustle, so maybe they're not at a point that they can hire someone.
Mm-hmm.
So let's establish from that standpoint that you are investing in yourself and your learning and your product that you're building.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Just before you go forward, I love this comment.
uh,
Someone, Luis
yeah,
is saying, this feels
yeah. Well,
like in
well,
an actual classroom. Yeah.
well, you could consider it an actual classroom, yes. But what I'm trying to do right now is to condense the journey of an entire business from inception to it being an actual running system that you can profit from. Right.
Yep.
So yes, we this is something that we have learned over years, and we are trying to condense it literally to to make it easy for you, at least to a certain extent. It
Mm.
may or may not be so easy for everyone to understand. So, so yeah, you reach that point that you have to scale, right? You have to understand 10,000 customer hit me. What do I do? Where do I go? I take up, do I, can I just take it up as a container and put it somewhere else and then it would be fine? Sometimes the answer is yes, depending on what the application is and how it behaves. And yeah, you could just take it up. You could maybe establish auto scaling. You could establish, let's say, go to Kubernetes, um, go some other ways, or maybe you could just take out the code and give it to a managed service that can scale it for you. Maybe that would be higher cost, but yeah, the scaling itself problem gets solved. These are some technical aspects which we are not covering today. We'll have a different session for that sometime later to, to deep dive exactly on this aspect, right? So let's say you have solved the problem of scaling from 10,000 customers up until maybe like 50,000. Your problem is solved, right? Now comes the question of value addition. Like, okay, from 10,000, how do you go to the 100,000th customer, right? Those, the next 90,000 customers, how do you gain them? Then you need to listen. Then you need to gather feedback. You need to have some sort of an organic feedback loop. I'm part of AWS, and then I was I have the privilege to talk to many different product owners who are building our services and different feedbacks. And one thing that we do is that we listen to the customers. We understand them ourselves. So I go talk to C-level executives, even to junior developers, all the way down, and understand like, hey, what's wrong? Why? What do you think is wrong in this platform, and how can we fix it? Right. So gather all of that feedback, whether you have a mechanism to physically talk to them, send them emails, cold emails, maybe LinkedIn, maybe other mechanisms to talk to them, Reddit or Facebook, YouTube, whatever else, right? So you have to gather that feedback and understand, start dissecting the feedback to understand where is the real pain problem. Is it a technical problem that there is? Is it a human computer interaction kind of a problem, or is it a perception problem that you have an issue with? Today, for example, if you come to west, anywhere west of Turkey, all the way to north of Mexico, if you talk about Chinese products to anyone, even if they're great, they're the perfect products to have, people would still be skeptical. Ah, yeah, it's Chinese. You could be bringing up an amazing electric vehicle from China, a BYD or a Jayco or a
Mm.
Xpeng or Zeekr or whatever else kind of electric vehicle. And the moment people would be like, "Oh, is it Chinese?" No, I'm not interested. Why? Have you even evaluated it? Have you even thought about it? Have you checked that? Yeah, does it really solve the problem that you had, or is it just a simple perception problem? Right. So if it is a perception problem, then you need to tackle it from a different kind of a branding. Then you need to maybe
Mm.
associate yourself to an established brand that people trust.
Mm.
So, for example, the moment that Essen talked to me about this audience meter, I was like, yeah, is it something like SurveyMonkey? Why did that come to my mind? Because SurveyMonkey is something already established. People know about it, people know what it
Mm.
does. And then if you get associated with some kind of a brand similar to SurveyMonkey for this one, voila, you can change the perception problem. If you understand from feedback that this is a technical problem, then yeah, that's pretty straightforward. Just go and talk, like just simply change that aspect technically, whether it is the load time, whether it is the latency, whether it is um, the UI that needs to be fixed or whatnot, right? Or if it is more related to the access problem, like, okay, I'm unable to solve what me few customers that you are trying to get feedback from. I have also another problem. Oh, not yet. This came really early, but yeah, I have a few more problems that I want this system to be doing. Let's say today I can provide feedback or I can get feedback from people, but I also need to know which exact aspect in the talk that they were not happy about. Whether it was slide 44, whether it was 33rd minute, whether it was the seating where I was sitting and then I could not really read the slides over there.
Mm,
Uh, what where exactly is the problem in my presentation or in my session? I need to know that, right? If this is the feedback people are giving, that's a gap in your product.
mm,
Depending on how you are gathering the feedback, you could be getting feedback from like a million people out there. So you cannot just fix all those million things. You have to reprioritize.
mm,
And that gets tied to how you're going to be making money later, right? So this is a little, if you are getting enough feedback, which is not so straightforward and requires prioritization, you need to take a pause over there and then you need to basically think, what is my long-term vision? What is going
mm,
to be my business problem, business model over here? Is it going to be the case that I monetize or basically ask people to give me money for using the platform? Is that going to be
mm,
my business model? Let's say how Essen was talking about previously, two projects you get for free. If you want to create more than two, up to 10 or up to 50, you have to pay for that. So basically using the platform, paying for it. Is that how you're going to be making money? Or is it going to be the case that you make money elsewise? You gather their data, you basically try to understand how sessions behave, you try to summarize it, and then you upsell that kind of data to speakers out there. Is that going to be your business model? Or your
mm,
business model is going to be white labeling, that I already have a product that's already established. Here is the platform aspect to it. You, whosoever in the universe wishes to integrate it into their business. So audiencemeter.amazon.com, audiencemeter.google.com, audiencemeter.confis.com, or whatever, they could just literally white label it for themselves, and then they
mm,
pay you a licensing fee. Is that the way you're going to be making money? So depending on how you are going to be making money, that's how you will define which of the feedback items that you have collected so far can
mm,
help you prioritize. So for example, if you choose that, okay, I'm going to be white labeling my product. I'm going to be selling the license for it, and anybody could just simply integrate it into their business, and they're going to be paying me, let's say, $10 a month or whatever as a license fee for this product. Fine. Then the feedback that is coming from someone sitting on Reddit doesn't really make sense much. I need to
mm,
understand the feedback that those companies that I'm going to be selling it to, what are they saying? What are the kind of feedback items that they are providing? And then you fix that on technology side or on your overall system side, and then you move along from there, right? That can then further establish the next 90-ish thousand customers that you have. Right.
mm,
Then you, let's say, reach the 100,000 customer mark, and finally, technically speaking,
mm,
you are unlocked from a business model standpoint. You have certain revenue coming in, and you have certain extent to a sustainably running business in itself, right? Now there are two avenues again. One, either you keep on running this as a business, you keep on scaling it up, you keep on gaining more partnerships, you keep on expanding your portfolio of customers, you just keep on organically do it, or you strive towards like, okay, I need to sell this as a business. I need to go to some sort of a Shark Tank scenario, or I need to be in a dungeon den, or I need to be in a place where an investor or someone can buy this business from me, or I can IPO it. There are things related to all of that of how can you get your $1 million in your pocket, which I think we'll
mm,
be covering today. So I highly recommend all of you. So far, all of the learnings that I shared, at least from a business standpoint, that you should be reading this book. This is called Reaching Cloud Velocity. It's written by some of my AWS colleagues, yes, but it has learnings for all of you to learn from, how to understand business, how can you be an executive and tie all of those things together to technology. Over to you.
mhm.
It was a lot of talking from my side.
No, that's nice. I think we shared a lot of good things. So this is the book that we are talking about. I hope I get the time to read it and not just alongside my
Yeah.
shelf books. So hopefully, yes. But I'm sharing the link in the chat as well for anyone who wants to have a look at that. And the colleagues, are they in your team or?
Oh no, they're not part of my team.
Hmm.
They are what we call enterprise strategists. They are
Hmm.
ex C-level executives of different organizations. So, for example, Jonathan Allen, one of my friends living in UK, he was
Hmm.
previously a CDO, and he used to be basically developing the entire strategies around data and everything in a very big organization.
Hmm.
So he's the one of the authors of this book as well, and they
Hmm.
share their journey of what can you be doing. So one
Hmm.
of the things that they're talking about it, and that is basically for more tenured executives out there, uh, which is to basically tie together your business goals to your technical goals, right? So
Okay.
not just have like, okay, I want to get million customers, and somebody on the product side or on the technology side has no idea what to do for the millionth customer, right?
Hmm.
So tying together your business goals to your technical goals establishes a good footprint of a great business.
Hmm. Very nice. And speaking about books, I also wanted, where are my QR codes? Here are my QR codes. So I also wanted to share about Mossing Angular Signals, which is my latest book. We published it before on Amazon, and now it has been published on LeanPub as well, which means you don't really need to be in an Amazon marketplace. So this is the book which is already on Amazon, but now you can get a 50% discount on LeanPub. So feel free to scan it. And if you're not part of the Discord community that we have already, uh, I would highly encourage you to join it. We have more than 1,700 people within the community itself, and there was a free giveaway for the book as well, and we are planning to give more giveaways later as well. So yeah, five really cool people, including this guy Karar. I don't know how, but he wins every single giveaway that we have given so far. But yeah, he also got the book. So you can find the links of Discord, etc., in my socials usually as well. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me on LinkedIn, and then we'll take it from there. But in general, the book is available to be downloaded, and you can download the EPUB version, which you can use on your Kindle, etc., and you can also get the PDF version as well. So, actually, coming back to this, I can already say that this was super helpful for me as well, because some of the things I had in mind, but I think I've been doing the same thing that I tell other people not to do, which is that we usually go every day in the forest, we try to chop off trees, and we don't have the time to sharpen the axe. And that is what I'm doing. I'm not sitting, I'm not thinking all these things that you have mentioned, and not contemplating on what are the right things to look at. And a part of that includes reading books like what you just shared. So I think reaching cloud velocity would be one of the things that I would look into, especially when I'm looking forward to going towards production, for example. But one of the things that I also thought about the value to be provided was exactly what you said, that based on where I am when I'm talking, people could highlight those exact points for me, that okay, this was the part super confusing, I don't know what you were doing. So if we could provide that value to the speakers, that they know exactly which slide was super confusing, which timestamp was super confusing, and sort of looking at in a way like you usually look at videos, that you have comments on a certain timestamp that give you exactly what you need to improve. I think that's one of the things that I thought would be interesting.
And there is a point towards it that
Hmm.
there are issues that you think you should be solving,
Hmm.
and then there are issues that people want you to solve. And
Yes.
that's why I started from the aspect that you need to get that first customer, that first person who
Hmm.
would be using your platform.
Mm,
because you built something, a product. As I said previously, you built a product based on a problem that you thought should be solved, either for yourself, for a friend, for a community, for someone out there, right?
mm,
You did your work. You did your, you laid the ground over there. Now you need to understand whether you need to put plantation on top of it or not, right? Or
mm,
you need to resow it, and then you could be uh, laying the foundation for something else, right? So you don't need to just keep on investing your time from a technical standpoint or from a business standpoint or whatever to improve it based on your hunch. I think people want this.
mm,
No, that's a disaster recipe in itself of running a business. If you really want to make money and run a business at a certain point, that's a disaster recipe because I think or I have a hunch that something should be solved. No, that's not going to help you in any way. Yes, yes, if you're Steve Jobs, yes, if you are visionary in terms of your product designs, then yes, absolutely, you you could go it. But you also need to understand that there was just one Steve Jobs and there is just one Apple company, which is $1 trillion company today, who are doing things. And even today, there's no innovation in Apple anymore. He did some groundwork. He laid the foundation of some of the products in his time. Tim Cook is just improving to a certain extent those products, and nothing new is actually coming out of Apple anymore. One of
mm,
their products, Apple Vision Pro, died because they thought we should be doing it. Their
mm,
hunt fails. That itself product is failing. There are so many examples of it. If you, for example, look out today, if you just Google or YouTube humane pin, I have my favorite YouTuber, MKBHD, Marcus Brownlee,
mm.
and he makes videos about different. He does reviews in technology trends and stuff. And then he was reviewing it, and humane basically uh, blames him because he did a review of the pin and then he said so many bad things about it and then it failed
Is this
miserably.
the one?
Yes, this is one.
Okay.
There's a similar one called Rabbit
Yeah,
AI.
yeah, I saw that one.
So
Yeah.
all of them failed because they thought themselves and they tried to perfect their craft without having
Mm,
customers, without listening to customers, without really going out and giving it to one person and then getting their feedback and iterating on what that person is saying, right? So it's very, very, very important for you to go on and get out that first customer, get them to make your brand, make themselves your brand ambassador, so that your product can grow from there.
mm,
So these are my 2 cents, at least for today, right? And then I want to show you something. And if you get to have this book, and then you would be, if you read it, there is this map in the book, and then it explains very nicely about how do you basically plan your product. You need to
mm,
have the understanding of what needs to be your genesis. Basically, what are you building, what are you getting, what are you making custom built, and versus what are you going to be buying off the shelf. What is basically a product for you that you convert your thing into a product, versus what is rental as a library or as a package, as a subscription that you are getting and integrating into it. And later, how can you basically commoditize it and make it into a utility for someone.
mm,
If you have that journey in mind and if you keep on following it, that leads to, and that has, statistically speaking, led to success for different businesses.
mm,
So summarizing all of it,
mm,
at least from my side, get that first customer, build something,
mm,
whatever thing. Use Kiro, use QCLI, Cloud Code, Cursor, Replit, whatever that you are comfortable with. Use that, build something, put it up such that people can access it. Go on, hunt the first customer, make them your brand ambassador. Go on, and then give it to more people. Get your first handful amount of customers, get their feedback, figure out your partnering strategy. Who can you partner it up with? Scale it out. Reach
mm,
the point that technology becomes a problem for you. When that becomes a problem, solve it technically for the next 10x growth for yourself. Then figure out your business model in itself.
mm.
There are many ways for business model. And then when you have figured it out, watch the next episode that we will be doing in order to understand how to make money, more money out of it. So
Absolutely, and everybody loves that. Okay, one thing that I got from this is instead of me thinking about putting more time in, I should just build something and then go for feedback. So I don't even have to do that and then contemplate on top of that. So that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yes.
We're almost running out of time, but we have a question in the chat. Maybe you can answer it. So, what is the one mistake even smart founders make when moving from dev to production?
They think they know.
Okay.
Again, this is a really, really great book, and I'm still reading it and I'm still learning from it every day. And then there is one thing over here that was saying that there was a company, I will not name the company, you should be reading it. And then the CEO of the company was like, he was actively facing imposter syndrome.
Okay.
He was like, I don't know what this company needs to do, right? What this company should be doing. So I actively go on and ask others, hey, what should we be doing? And then them feeling that they are included in making decisions for the company, right? They give good feedback. I just shuffle that feedback from my side, and then I pick up a few things from it, and then we implement, and then those people take ownership of doing it.
Hmm.
That has established us to become a successful business, right?
Hmm.
On
Interesting.
the other hand, even the smart people, the smart businesses and everything, if the one person on the top or some people on the top think they know, the classic example of failure on that side is Nokia.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't know how old are you or what life you have led. If you were alive anywhere between 1990s all the way till 2007, Nokia was the number one company in the mobile phone industry in the globe. Period. They
Absolutely.
are based in
Yes.
Helsinki. I have seen their head office over there. It's called the Vision Espoo in its waterfront office. Many buildings out there today. Those have been converted into co-sharing workspace, co-working sharing spaces. But they
Hmm.
were huge offices. There is an entire village called Nokia in close to
Hmm.
Tampere, Finland, and it's just a village. And only Nokia manufacturing used to happen over there, and that was amazing in itself. Look
Hmm.
at the company today. Why that is the case? That somebody on the top thought that they know.
Hmm.
If you just understand this one small thing that I don't know what the hell should I be doing. I should
Hmm.
be listening to people. I should be talking to I'm a one man company. I should be talking outside. I'm a few people company. I should be talking to people I have with me. I'm a 1 million people company. I should be talking to all of them and understanding from them, hey, what should I be doing? If they give you feedback, act upon that feedback. Not just be like, oh, yeah, that person said that you were not paying us enough. Oh,
Hmm.
no, I should not be paying them. No, if they are giving you that feedback, that makes them basically build a nice product for you and then you could actually sell it, then yes, go on and pay them. Act on that feedback, make them included. Whatever feedback you get from them, act upon it, build nice products, and go out. So act like you don't know. Not actually act like you don't know, believe that you don't know, and act upon the feedback.
Accept it. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. That was amazing, and we are almost at time. So just to wrap this up, I think we have covered bunch of things today, and they were super helpful for me personally. I think I have more clarity, more books to read, but then also more to think as well, and also just reevaluating the approach that I've had so far, and thinking beyond just being a person who is tech oriented and just building and shipping features that I think are important or I think people may use, but rather looking for feedback, getting that first customer, and then building on top of this. I think that's
Yeah.
what I take it from you and the discussions we have had
One thing
today. Mm.
One thing I would like to add, as a closing remark from my side, is
Mm.
some people feel like, hey, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a business person. I'm not that. I'm not this.
Mm.
Or I'm just a developer, or I'm just a builder, or a coder, or whatever, right?
Mm.
Believe me, each and every person in this universe is a salesman.
Mm.
Either you are selling your time and then you are good at selling your time, that you continue to do so every day. Most majority of people keep on selling their time. Myself, I'm even selling my time right now. Both of
True.
us are selling our time right now. Um, or you sell something else. You sell a product, you sell clothes, you sell cars, you sell something else, right? But all of you are a salesman. It's just that you need to understand what else can you sell apart from your time and how can you do so. What are those ways?
Mm, absolutely. And it's one of the things that I think we, or especially I would say from my circle, being a Pakistani, we have not really been taught as much as I see the kids here in Sweden, for example, who are selling like small goodies, small things that they have handy crafted. And even like growing up, if you told me to sell something, it would be difficult for me, even to go out and talk to people and then convince them, or maybe just show them what I'm selling and how much for it, or justifying to it. But I think I agree with you. In general, it's something that you need a lot of time, or you should spend some time thinking what the approach is, and not just blindly going in. And I think that's one of the things that I've learned, or relearned today. But having said that, I think I'll let you go because it's Sunday. Of course, you have a family, and I do have a family as well. And my kid is going to start knocking the door since it's 10. But just before we wrap up, again, I'm sharing that the Mastering Angular Signals is right now on a 50% discount. It is, I think, for a month or so, and there are only a limited number of coupons out there which you can avail. So just scan the QR code, and if you want to reach out, for sure reach out. And one of the things that's really good with leanpub is that if I make any updates to the book, you automatically get an email, and then you can download the latest version as well. Having said that, there's much more to come when it comes to me and Talha. There are things that we are discussing almost every Friday when we meet, or otherwise as well in chat as well. And there are good plans for just making sure that we know how to take your idea to production, how to earn money from it as well, and what technical aspects to think, as well as from a marketing perspective, from a founder's perspective, from a CTO's perspective, what are going to be those things that you should be taking care of. And with that said, thank you again, Tala, for giving us your time today. And I wish you a really good rest of your weekend, and we'll connect later.
Ciao.
Thank